So what'd you think of that, Dave?
I need to up my game on my intros, Chris.
That's pretty cool, ain't it?
That's brilliant. Love it. Love it. How are you, mate?
Mate, I'm absolute. Listen, it's a dream. I'm living this dream. Is exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. It's just everything, like you said earlier before we went live, man, just happens so fast sometimes. And it's like, I remember, so just everybody out there that, little backstory real quick. Me and Dave, he was actually the press officer for OMG Rich Energy with Bradley Ray and Kyle Ride. Bradley actually won the title that year. And man, I invited him on the Facebook page and he accepted, right? And then I was like, I had the balls to say, man, it'd be an honor to have you on the podcast. And he did, right? And since then, it's been great friendship has started. We met at Texas and hung out at Texas. And I went out to Cadwell Park, and it's been, I don't even know. It's just been so amazing that, and I talk about this all the time. I'm sure people are like, I wish you would just stop talking about it, but I can't help it. Right? I just can't help it.
It's a whirlwind.
Man, it's so amazing, Dave. It's the whole journey, and it just happened so fast. But yes, listen, and again, everybody, congratulations on the 50,000 downloads.
Mate, that's just since the end of November. It's ridiculous. We had an issue with our previous host, which was Acast, and we had to switch to another host. So we've gone to Buzzsprout, which is really good. Really pleased with it. So you only get the analytics from when you transferred the show over. So that's 50,000 since the end of November. So I'm absolutely delighted with that.
Bro, so you're like in the million status, right? That's absolute legend, man. Yeah. One day I will be there. But listen, I don't know if I told you this before, but I've listened to you for a long time, right? Even back before podcast was a thing, when you was on the radio, the Moto Pod, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's how long, dude, I've been listening to you, and you have been my absolute inspiration for podcasting. For
That's
sure.
really kind of you. Thank you. You're doing a great job. You're holding it together well. It's not easy as well,
It's not. And it's funny because people ask me, they're like, do you get paid to podcast? I'm like, absolutely not. Right. It's like motorcycle racing. I'm paying to do it right now, which is fine. My whole thing is, my whole attention going in. My number one thing, Dave, about this whole podcasting thing is at the end of the day, I leave something for my son, visual, audio, something he can always go back, for him, everything else that comes is an absolute bonus. Yes.
Legacy. That's what it is.
So I just, thought about how I could do it different and what I can leave behind for my son. And on top of that, all the friendships that I have gotten and good mates like you and over there, and the love and support. It's, it's just
you're welcome here anytime, mate. You know that. Right back at you, man. Right back at you,
dude. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So StreamYard. Well, I use StreamYard. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit when we was over there. So, how do you like Bean Sprout? Because I almost did Bean Sprout.
It's good. Yeah. It's only for audio, so it's not so bad. But at some point, there's going to be a time where we need to do remote chats the same as this. So I had a look at Riverside FM. Not really too impressed with that, but the StreamYard thing looks really good. So yeah, we'll probably give this a go at some point. But Buzzsprout's really good. Yeah, really easy to use, and again, you're paying money after money after money, but it has its own AI for upgrading the audio. So you put it in, and it goes through the AI, and it comes out really good. And it has some dynamic. Oh, whoops! Oh dear. I've just broken my light. Needs to be well lit. Let's be fair. That's better. Sorry.
No,
there we go. It shows it's live. So we're going to do something like that at some point. But yeah, Buzzsprout really good for the analytics. Everything else, absolutely spot on. I can highly recommend it.
Yeah, I do Podbean. I used to use Riverside, but Podbean is what I use for my push out to everywhere, as far as like LinkedIn and all that good stuff, right? iHeart and iTunes, and then StreamYard. Jules was like, dude, you need to try out StreamYard. So I got on here and we started playing around with it. You can actually, it's got the same thing. It automatically does the whole, it's got a setting in there where you can mess with all that, right? You can edit it, you can do all this crazy stuff. You can actually pull up YouTube videos and share screen it, or Instagram and all this stuff. You could have, thing that I want to start doing is when people actually watch live and they comment, instead of asking a question there, I could just be like, hey, just hit me up on Messenger if you want to come in and ask Dave Neal, the real deal, a live question. I could in the studio, they could ask the question and then I could throw them out. And then, yeah, we could just keep it's just different way of interacting, right? Which I
100%. 100%. But no, you're doing a great job. And Jules, when he's on, and it's going grand, mate. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot coming from you, Dave. Absolutely. I mean, it means a lot coming from everybody too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, the legend himself that's been doing it since before podcasting was a podcast.
2020.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Man. It's been
I don't, on these comments on the side, all it says is Facebook user, so I have no idea who these people are that are coming in. It doesn't give names, sadly, for me.
Well, I'm having a little issue on my end too, because I only see one name, which is Kylie, and he says hello. And what is going on, mate? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to see why I can't see. But Minnesota is probably my mate Britt. So what's going on, Britt? Hi guys, that's probably my man Chris Lewis. That's actually out there in the UK. He always watches the podcast. He says, hey Dave, and hey Chris, what is up, mate? Yeah. So as we're talking and we're doing this, I'm gonna try to figure this one out so I can see everybody's name properly. Right? It's same thing, right?
Army, I guess. Looking at that.
Shane. Oh, it's Shane. Yeah, BSB Barmy Army. Yep, that's exactly who it is. Shane.
Shout out for them.
Huh?
That's an early shout out for them.
Yeah, dude, he's awesome, man. Shane's such a good guy. What he's doing as far as the donations and the support is absolute brilliant. We actually need more people like that in the game. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But man, dude, so what's been going on your end, man? How's Off Track, Franco Carcetti? I mean,
well, I'm very lucky. After doing this thing for 10 years, I have a really, really good network of people that, the old 2 degrees of separation thing.
Yeah.
There aren't many people I can't get hold of via the people that are already in my phone. So I'm kind of lucky to have that network built up already. So somebody can introduce you to somebody else, and then they introduce you to somebody else. And you know what this game is like. It takes time. You can't build those contacts overnight. It takes time and it takes perseverance. And you've got to play the game well. If you're a dick, you'll be found out really quickly.
Facts.
But you just have to go at the pace that you can. And as you know from before, I spent 10 years in manufacturing before I started doing the racing thing full time, and that helped a lot. And then people the same as you are now. They give you a lot of respect when you put the hard yards in for free for years. And then when it comes good, they continue to support, and then things get bigger and better and grander. And we're still growing now. We're by no means there, not by any stretch of the imagination. We're growing really well. And one thing, and I think you'll find the same as well, is that it's not a hindrance, because that's the wrong word. It makes things more difficult not being well known. So not being a rider or a journo or somebody who's been in, as a well-known person in the paddock or in the sport who has 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 followers, that you can go straight in. You've already got an existing audience. We're both building from absolute zero. And that, I think, has a different sense of achievement to get to where we are. So you just got to keep plugging away. And some days you wonder why you do it. Other days you know exactly why you do it.
Well said. Because there are days. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, why am I doing this? Right. And then, absolutely right. It's been, a lot of people don't realize the work. Like when I first started this and I was the first guest on the podcast, and then, we started interviewing people, and then, I mean, Jules, he's doing a full-time job right now. He works 7 days a week, getting his stuff together. Bravo, bravo. He does come on here, which I miss very much, and he will be back. But doing it all by myself, as far as the social media, the reaching out, because what I do, Dave, is I do a pre-video chat with people now. That way we build a relationship, we laugh, we kind of structure the podcast, right? But and then that way when we go live together, we're mates. We're not two strangers sitting down face to face for the first time.
It
and
helps.
Yeah,
it helps massively, especially when you're doing it remotely, as you are from your neck of the woods in Virginia. So you have to do that. You're not here to be able to build the relationships or at Moto America every week and building things that way. So yeah, you have to have that sort of 10 or 15-minute preamble first, just to get to know people rather than going straight in cold, because you don't know what you're expecting.
Absolutely not. And that's another good point too, right? Because I get to learn about your personality and what direction that I'm going to take it after having a conversation. And it just opens up many doors when you do it that way, and then, yeah, like listening to you with the whole 100 questions and all this, I was like, dude, what a brilliant idea. And yeah, man, it's you learn. So, listening to podcasters too, you pick up things here and there, like, oh man, I like the way he does that. I don't want to do it exactly like he does it, because I'm not a copycat, but I need to not reinvent the wheel, but make my own stamp of it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying, Dave.
I'll tell you now, my great colleague and great friend Matt Dunn, who helps us out on the show with the social media strategy and just basically keeps me sane in a lot of ways, the same as Jennifer does. So a quick shout out, Jules. It's like he's watching.
Yep, the real deal, baby.
The real deal. I'm here.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks, Jules. Good to know you're watching, mate. There's no such thing as original content anymore. If you start doing some great questions for the guests and picking questions from the guest, mate, that's fine. It's and they're different questions, same questions, whatever. There's no such thing as original content anymore. And as Matt put it, you never walk through the same river twice. So you can cross at the same point, but it's different water. So you have to take what you can, and it is difficult, especially when you're not I'm lucky to do this almost full time with the other work that I have with the company that I work for to build the brand. But it's hard to find things that are original, especially when you look at TikTok and you look at Instagram and things like that. People are showing you how to make attractive videos and reels and things like that. So everybody's doing it. So it's not original content.
Yeah.
So you just dip your toe in, you use what's best for you. You take some ideas, you make them your own, you round the edges off a little bit more, and you put your own spin on things. And but you've got to stay true to yourself. You can't all of a sudden be Diary of a CEO. You can't be any of the football podcasts. I'm not Gary Neville and things like that. You just got to be yourself. And that's massively important.
Yeah, 110%. It's that's one thing I love about going live. It's all raw. It's not pre-production, pre-asked questions. Yeah, exactly. Like you're like, dude, my son, if he was home right now, he's in school, he'd bust in here and sit down and say hi, or my dog or whatever. Dude, I love that. When I had Finn on, I had his mom come in. I'll be like, who's that right there you're talking to? Oh, so bring him on the camera, say hi, right? Yeah, to get everybody involved. It's so much fun. And when I sit down and I do this, listen, it always starts like I'm super nervous. I always get super nervous. My anxiety kicks in. I'm like, it's the same thing. Even, I have nowhere. I'm still a baby in diapers crawling. I haven't even walked yet compared to you, right? But it's still that feeling, right? But as soon as I sit down and I see my guest or my mate on camera, all that goes away. And it's like this euphoria, high feeling comes over you. And it's just, I wish I had what was that beer we had out there? Jack?
John Smith.
John Smith, that's it. Proper, right? Yeah, absolutely. Good beer too.
Introduce you to that.
Yes, it was very good. I try to find it out here, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, no, it doesn't travel too well. It's completely different to your Michelob Ultra or your Millers and things like that.
Yeah, I don't drink that. That's watered down beer. I like my favorite beer is Guinness. I'm a Guinness head.
Good man.
So.
Yeah, Guinness is good.
Yep. Guinness is absolutely. Now I could drink it warm. It don't got to be cold for me. I can just leave it right there and have at it. So
it doesn't need to be chilled. That's for sure.
No, it does not, man. It does not. So listen, we met at COTA, man. What an honor it was to finally meet Dave in real life and Jennifer. We exchanged t-shirts and Jennifer took that one picture of me and you standing, watching with our shirts on, and we had the same one at Cadwell, and those are some of my favorite shirts. I actually want to I'm gonna get them both framed. I'm gonna get them printed out and framed up because it's just absolute. Just listen, for me, it's like coming full circle, right? Because I was such a fan, and I need to turn my fanboyish off, Dave, but I was such a fan, then having you on here and then becoming friends and actually meeting and exchanging shirts and having that picture and going out the honor to BSB and getting the same kind of thing. It's like, it's just absolutely.
We're friends. You know me well enough.
I know.
There's none of that fanboy thing, mate. We're just doing the good thing for the people in motorcycle racing. That's all.
I know.
You know me well enough, mate. I'm just me, and I'm lucky enough to do what I do.
Absolutely. So what did you think about Texas, man? We was there that weekend. From what I remember, it wasn't as hot as it was the previous year, but it was still
but it was enough for some pasty faced Brits. It was hot enough for us. We don't need to worry about that. Mate, it's one thing. It's going to be really hard to watch it this year and know the layout of the circuit, where we stood, where the flag at turn 1 and going up the tower.
Yeah.
It's going to be so difficult to watch it, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the season. But Texas itself, I'd go back tomorrow. Absolutely fell in love with the place. Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Ann. If I could go there for a month, I would do, and so would Jennifer. Not on my own, obviously, with Jennifer.
Yeah, for sure. What was your favorite thing you guys ate when you was in Texas?
Most of it. Yeah. The barbecue is good. The steaks are good. Everything is great. But the one thing that I did have that was my absolute favorite, we were at the stockyards at Fort Worth. And have you been down there?
No, I have not.
Okay. In the Fort Yards at Stockworth, there's a little square, and it has eating places down either side and a couple of bars, and it's great. It's great. And we went into this place. It was the Biscuit Company, and I'd never had biscuit. You know what a biscuit is over here? It's a sugary thing that you dunk in your tea, and and it was a biscuit place, and it was called the Hangover Cure. And it was the first chance I'd had to try American gravy that's weirdly completely the wrong color, with a whole host of meats and cheese in a biscuit. And it was the single best thing I have ever eaten in my entire life. And biscuit, I'm all over biscuit. That's fine. There's a place in Manchester here that started doing biscuits that we're going to visit. So yeah, look, that for me was the best thing I'd eaten. But just Texas as a whole is just incredible.
It is. It's absolutely amazing, man. Yeah, you're right, because the food's so different. I remember my mate Daniel Parker picked me up at Heathrow, right? And man, we spent 6 hours in London before I caught 2 trains. But he said full English breakfast. I was starving. I was like, let's go. I had already been up for over a day because I couldn't sleep before coming out. Man, my adrenaline, I was just so hyped. Like I barely slept. So anyway, we get into this little, it's not a restaurant, just
it's a cafe.
Yeah, cafe. Thank you, Dave. Full English breakfast. He's like, man, you want to try some black pudding? And I was like, sure, why not? I had no idea, right? And so I take this big bite of this black pudding, got about 3 chews in it, was spitting out of my napkin. It was like, absolutely not. Yeah. No,
that's
but
our part of the world in Lancashire, that's where it originates from, I think.
Yeah. It's
very black pudding. No, not for me. Jennifer loves it, but it's not for me.
That's the only thing I didn't like. Everything else I loved, especially the proper fish and chips and the mushy peas. And listen, we was down there at Malcolm. We went down to his place in Louth. His buddy owns a fish and chips place, right? So I get in there and I said, "Can I get some squishy peas?" And everybody started laughing at me. And Malcolm's like, "They're called mushy peas." I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm American. I don't know, right?" And yeah, it was cool though, man. Everybody was laughing and it's a good time, man. Absolutely. And Madry, the beer, the lager you guys
the
got.
Madry, yeah, that's Spanish.
Yes.
I think Madry. I think Spanish. It's good stuff, though.
Oh, dude, they had it in the hotel. Every time I walked in there, I was like, "Can I get 2 of those, please? Thank you."
That helps sleep.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. You know, that I thought I'd be nervous going over there all by myself and like, you know, just that homesick kind of feeling, just being away. But I absolutely all the love and warmth I felt, absolutely not. It was
I didn't really get time to think about it, did you? You were so it's like when we were in Texas, it was place to place to place to place. So you don't have time to think about anything else. You just try and be in the moment for as many places as you can.
Yeah.
And meet as many people as you can, and because you've got a finite amount of time. So to get around all the people that you did was pretty epic.
Oh, it was, yeah. 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 I just don't even know what to say when I think about it, Dave. It was just so.
That's the cool thing. You did it. Never mind just talking about it. You did it.
I know. And that grid, thank you so much for that grid walk, man. I watched, you don't understand. I recorded that and I watched that video all the time. I laugh. It makes me smile. It is absolutely the best. I'll tell everybody it's the best time I ever had at any race. I've been to MotoGP races, Moto America races. Absolute best time ever.
I just asked the question. It was Kirsty and Kirsty from FS3 Kawasaki that did that for you. I just asked the question.
Yeah, I know. Big shout out to her. Thank you. If you ever listen to this, thank you. Yeah, all right. Next year, I'll tell you what, I'll see her again next year. If she's still with the team, I'll just thank her myself. Or I'll give her a big old hug, thank you, and say, "Hey, after this, I owe you a pint. Let's go." 100%. Yeah, man. Daniel Parker said, "Grace, best grid walk ever." Absolutely, it was. I'm not sure who this is. I'm still trying to work out this whole thing as me and Dave were talking. I don't know why. Usually I see everybody's name. But it says, whoever this is, I apologize. It says, question for Dave Neal. Chris says he still gets nervous before each podcast. Do you still have that too?
Yeah, unquestionably. No question at all. Because I don't, I'm still not 100% comfortable doing it. And I think whether that keeps me grounded or what, I don't know. Yeah, the short answer is yes. I have a tendency to waffle because I'm not the one that's used to answering the questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, because I think the adrenaline, as you find, Chris, it really helps. And the point that you become comfortable with it and it becomes just another interview, is time to sort of have a look at yourself and go, well, really, you should be excited by every guest that comes on, whether they've been on once, twice, 5 times. Whatever. There's always an element of nerves setting up the kit because I travel to the guests invariably, unless Jennifer's with me at a race meeting. I set the kit up on my own, so you'll see me on the show forever looking and just looking for the red lights on the cameras and thinking, I hope I don't run out of memory. And not me, the cameras, not me. And it's so yeah, there's an awful lot of anxiety and nerves even now, and I like it that way. So I don't ever want that to change.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a big part of it. So I ask one of my questions I ask all the riders is like, do you guys have any pre-rituals as far as like lucky underwear or socks or whatever it is? And I got asked that. And what I do personally, Dave, is I usually look at myself in the mirror and I have a conversation, right? Nerves. I'm like today, I was like, man, Dave Neal's coming back on. Let's go. You got this. How much fun. And then all the memories started flooding with all the time we spent together and just everything that's happened. And yeah, I do that. And I still, all the nerves and the adrenaline's kicking and going. And then as soon as I sit down and click that, boom, and we get face to face, it's like it's there, but it goes in the background. Yeah. Right. And then after this,
you're into the conversation, then it's flowing and it doesn't even become an issue.
Yeah. Exactly. But after the podcasting, it's like I'll be driving to work, and this is all these fools are going to hear when I go back to work is this podcast. It happens all the time. They're like, don't you got something to do? You go over there and go do something, you know? I'm like, dude, the podcast is great. Did you guys watch it? Check it out. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't help it, man. I never
passion that keeps driving it forward, Chris.
It's
never wants to become a job or a chore.
No, it don't, you know, and it's like since I started it, man, something like this switch went on the inside of me. And I feel like if I go a couple of days without podcasting, I miss it so much. I'm like, dude, I just need to be in front of the camera and be interviewing some guests. Like it's weird. It really is. It's weird, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's great. It's all good fun. And then thank you for inviting me back on, mate. It's truly a pleasure.
Oh, listen, you'll be back on many more times. No worries, mate. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But yeah, it's yeah, so Cadwell Park, when we went there, you had showed me when I walked down, because you had called me and I was like, man, I have no idea where I'm at, right? So I actually asked the guy standing there, I was like, hey, where's walking down to Bridgewood Terminal? He's like, yeah, mate, let's go right down there. And then as soon as before he let me go, he's like, where are you from? I was like, I'm from Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia. Let's go, baby. Woo. And everybody's like, holy shit, your energy is just amazing, right?
That was the coolest thing for Cadwell Park. It had no idea what had hit it, because it's the typical British thing of polite applause and people sat there and just enjoying their lunches. And all of a sudden, this huge American energy has descended on Cadwell Park. It was fantastic.
I appreciate it. Yeah, dude, listen, that's the main thing I heard is everybody's like, your energy is just incredible. Like you're a breath of fresh air. This is awesome, you know? And I'm like, what's your name? Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. Where you from? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. It's, that's how I'm here, even here, right? Even MotoGP. But you know, when you're in MotoGP and you're back there, it's MotoGP is very different than the atmosphere, the way you approach the riders. You know, I would love to be able to go up to them and have a conversation like I did with pretty much everybody there at BSB.
No chance.
Absolutely. You're lucky, even if you get a pit pass, to get that stop real quick and that smile, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the difficult thing. It's so clinical in MotoGP, and it is the pinnacle of the sport, and I get it. But World Superbikes, which is a shame it doesn't come to the States anymore. World Superbikes is a great paddock. The riders are it is a much more friendly paddock, and it has been since year dot. It's always had that edge on MotoGP. But then BSB is different again, where the riders are just cycling around. They stop, they chat, everybody's so accessible at BSB, and that's the coolest thing about it. And that's how I managed to do the podcast that I do, because everybody's there. And invariably, there are certain teams where you have to go through the PR guy, but not very often. And most of them I know anyway. I'm quite fortunate in that respect. But certainly the factory back teams, it's courtesy to go through the PR guy and just, or girl, like Bex at FHO, and just say, look, can we talk to the riders? Can we do this? Can we do that? Is that okay? Invariably, they won't say no, but just the courtesy lets them know that you're going to do it. They might want to sit in on it. There might be certain things that they don't want you to ask. But the independent teams, dead easy. Just ask the rider and then just let the team gaffer know out of courtesy when you see them. I'll ask them, is that okay? It's never not been an issue.
Yeah. I did that when I had Braden Elliott on. Yeah, I did that with him. I'm getting ready to have Tom Neve on too, but I hadn't had to do that, and he ain't said nothing about that yet.
To have who on?
Tom Neve.
Oh, Tom Neve. Yeah.
Yep.
With him a couple of weeks ago. He's out on our show next week with Tim. I managed to get the two boys together.
Nice. That's going to be a proper one.
Oh,
it's next week. Yeah, I got him on the 1st, I think. Yeah, excellent. The 1st. Yeah,
good guy. You'll like him. I have a lot of time for the Neve boys.
Yeah, it was funny, man, because I sent him a message, right? Like I always do, right? A lot of them are on Instagram, right? And so I was like, hey, I'm Simcoe from Pendergast. We actually met at Cadwell Park. And he's like, we did? So I sent him a picture of me and him together, and he was like, yeah, I remember you. I was like, bro, it'd be an honor to get you on. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Just send me my email. So we've been talking to email back and forth. It's
superb.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's and you know, a lot of my friends, and I get asked the question is, what's the difference between Moto America and BSB, right? Moto America is what we're best at is we have that open pit policy, right? Where you pay your $80 a weekend. You're literally, they have the little barrier up and an awning, and you're literally 6, 7 feet away from Jake Gagne's bike and the mechanics working on it. You know, the whole crew's there, you see them, and versus everywhere else, you gotta know somebody or buy a pit pass or yada yada yada, right? Except for Cadwell Park, because they gotta go down to cross the track to get there, right? So if you stand there, you're guaranteed to run into everybody from the very bottom to the very top, right? But yeah, that's what we do. I think the best out of everybody is that open pit policy for sure. Because as a fan standpoint, whoever your biggest hero is, or whoever you wanted to beat to get a picture with, it's 100% guaranteed you're going to get that, right?
100%. So, and that's the same with BSB. That's why they're on a very similar level in that respect. The accessibility is second to none. I mean, I get it at world level, and I understand it's a different prospect at Worlds, and then a different prospect again at MotoGP. And there's a formula to follow at both of those events that doesn't hurt to follow at the national events, just out of courtesy, as we said before. But it's you can't. The riders won't touch you, and most of the time, especially if you're on a one-off kind of pass. I've had it before, and you go to chat with them, they just look at you and they go like, "Who are you?" Yeah. It's just another chat. Whereas you go to Moto America on a regular basis, or you go to BSB on a regular basis, you talk to the guys and girls in passing, and you form relationships with them, and it's like you can stop and have a chat, and then all of a sudden they're on the podcast, and there's already that familiarity. But going to World Superbikes and to MotoGP, yeah, it's a completely different level.
It is. I was going to ask you, man, what's been the most hardest thing to overcome doing all these podcasts? Like the most challenging, difficult, like, why do I do this?
Self-belief.
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? Why are the riders sat there talking to me? And this isn't a sympathy thing or anything like that. It's absolutely true. I suffered with various degrees of imposter syndrome for years, because it took me so long to get to do what I do. Now I do it. You kind of think, why me? And the same working with the great guys and girls at OMG Racing, and with Brad and with Kyle and with the whole team there. Sometimes you stand at the front of the garage and you're watching Brad go out or Kyle go out, and you stood there going, how did this happen? Why me? That's been the biggest thing to overcome. But I had some real big help from a great friend, Haley, who made me understand that, yeah, you kind of are worthwhile, because that's why you're doing it. But I struggle to give myself props for what I do. And it's not that I don't believe in myself or understand what I do. I'm not very good at shouting it from the rooftops that this is what I do. The ego thing isn't there.
Yeah.
But then I try and maybe clamp it down too much.
Yeah, I'm very humble. So I'm like that in a lot of sense as you. Like I feel like if I sought after, oh man, I would need to get paid to do this. That's my goal. Like I want to get paid. Now it turns into something completely different. My passion's not there for it. So to me, I don't seek after all that stuff, right? I do what I love to do, keep it 100 with myself, and everything else that comes along with it is an absolute bonus, right? And that's 100%. How I look at it.
That's exactly how we've done it. That's exactly how it's worked out here.
Yep.
If you chase it and you don't get it, then it becomes a bind. But if you just take this way, it took as long as it did to get where I wanted to get to. And there were days that I wondered if I ever would. And there's hoops to jump through, and there's things to do, and you've got to play the game in a lot of ways. But it's understanding the game and understanding what you can do, what access you've got, which, BSB are great with. I don't have a press pass or anything like that. We promote their series for free with the riders that we've got, but they could easily turn around and say, no, you're not doing it. It just carries on. So It's grand. Yeah, that's basically the long and the short of it is self-belief. But I try and keep a lid on it as best I can after a couple of chats with Haley.
Yeah, it's I find myself asking myself that same question, like, well, why do people like to listen to me? Like, why me? Right? I go through the same thing, Dave. I just push it back in the back of my mind. Read all the love comments I get coming in, and also, man, one thing I wanted to ask you too, man, is like, do you ever get like, of course, people saying, you suck, you should quit podcasting, all that hate, negative stuff, and if you do, how do you deal with that? Because I've been getting that lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I understand.
That's really sad to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I guess some people say, when you're doing a good job, people just hate and blah 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 blah, kind of that kind of deal. It's not very many of them, but there are some that are like, you suck, blah, all this other stuff, and I don't even pay them no mind, right? But of course, you're gonna read them, and you read the comments, and it's just like the writers say, man. When they read the press and they read negative stuff about them, man, it affects them. Absolutely affects them. I don't care. Mark Marquez, he reads, "You suck, blah blah. You should retire." All this. You don't think that somewhere deep down inside it hurts them? It's a wound.
I had on MotoPod, and I remember when it first went on Apple, and there was the first chance to do reviews. One guy laid into me, and I can almost remember the thing word for word, but he just didn't get me at all. A, the fact that I was new to it all. B, that we do this as a hobby. He absolutely laid into me, and it affected me for ages. It's like, hang on a minute, who are you to? You don't even know me. If you don't like it, no problem. You can't please everybody, and neither should you try to. There may be people out there that don't like my voice, don't like my approach. They have an allegiance to a different podcast, and it's like, no, I don't like the way he does it. We're deliberately different from every other podcast as much as we can be. So you just can't please everybody. But to answer your question directly, of the latest show, the last 12 months, I haven't seen anything negative. I've been really fortunate that I haven't seen it, whether it's there or not, but nobody comments underneath what we do. They just maybe don't listen, or they don't bother, which is fine. I completely get that. But no, apart from that one, I've been very, very fortunate. Don't get me wrong, there are people out there that probably don't like what we do, but they're fortunate enough not to jump on social media and shout it from the rooftops, because that would upset me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they hadn't really done that. It's just more so like private messages. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's even worse.
Yeah, it's just
to tell me how I do my podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it better, by all means, boo boo, get to it, right? But if
there's something I'm doing wrong, or that somebody would like me to improve on, and so, well, it's kind of annoying when you do that.
Yeah.
Then 100%, if I can fix it, I'll do my best to. There are things I do that I get annoyed with, but it's me. So I'm not, I'm not Michael Parkinson. I'm not Jay Leno. I'm not, I'm not a professional interviewer in front of a TV. I'm a bloke that does a podcast with some of the best riders around. So that's basically and the crew chiefs and the people that are part of the sport, and letting them tell their story. That's what I do. It says off track above the door. It doesn't say the Dave Neal Show.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely. So that's, me too. I focus on, well, you already know, I focus on like the Junior Cup and even the Superbike guys too. But I like to get in the back of the grid, the guys that don't ever get to tell their stories, that are working double and triple jobs. They might be going through a divorce, second mortgages on their house. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how much work the back grid, people call them back fillers and all this shit, right? To me, they're absolute legends. Every single one of them, right?
Yeah, they're all faster than me.
Right. Oh, and that brings me to a good point, mate. How is riding a motorcycle again? How is that? Yes.
After 18 years, it's been great fun. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've forgotten how much I missed it. Over the last 3 or 4 months, we've done 4 or 5 sessions up at Champions Flat Track School, courtesy of our mate Steve Poole, and riding with Tim and Tom and some of the guys, and Franco Bourne and some of the guys that go up there. I'm dreadful at it, but it gave me a little bit of a grounding of being back on a bike. That when Triumph got in touch and said, do you want to do a couple of loan bikes from us? Absolutely. I would love to. Thank you very much. And then Phil and my friends at My Moto clothing store in Manchester, they kitted us out because I didn't have any kit. I'd not ridden for ages. They said, look, we'll kit you out. Come and do some stuff with us as well when the weather gets better. So they've been brilliant as well. And yeah, it's been incredible. We've had the first bike that Triumph sent was the 1200 Tiger Rally Pro. So after 18 years, I'm getting on a 1200cc triple. That's this big, beautiful, easy to ride adventure bike. And it was a dream. I had a little bit of trepidation because, as I say, it had literally been 18 years since I'd ridden on the road. And the weather here at the moment isn't particularly bike weather, especially not in the part of England that I live. It goes grey and rainy from the end of October and stays that way until, it feels like sometimes until the end of September the following year. But it's not been the greatest of weather. I've not got as many miles in as I would like, but the Rally Pro was great fun. Dead easy in traffic. You can see over the top of the cars, and it was super comfortable. Then they sent the 900 GT Pro, which is the Grand Tourer version. Got a few more miles on that. Again, great fun to ride. And in the garage now, we have a 2.5 litre, 187 horsepower Rocket 3 that I went out on Saturday, which that really turns heads. That's an incredible piece of kit as well. So it's just getting the right days, the right weather. I don't want to go out in the rain, and I send them back in the best condition that they arrived in without taking the mickey. So I'm very, very lucky. Again, sometimes you just sit there and go like, this is really cool. And, thank you to Triumph and to My Moto. Let's see what comes this year. There might be some more opportunities. Who knows? We've got the new channel starting next week that we're putting together, Off Track on the Road. Done some edits on that today. That might work, it might not. Let's have a look. Let's see. People might think it's rubbish. I have no idea. I've never done anything like that before. So it's just talking through the roads around here that we're lucky to have up near the Yorkshire Dales, and then eventually go up to the lakes and things like that. But it's been a busy few weeks with the original podcasts. As you know, we've had a few guests over the last 3 weeks, and getting those edited and the audio edited and uploaded and cut and spliced together. And it takes a bit of time when your laptop's Steam driven.
Right.
What we're getting there. So we're ahead of the game a little bit now.
So do you edit and do all that yourself, or does Jennifer? Yeah.
Jennifer, she has her own job. She's a beauty therapist. So she works 5 and 6 days a week.
Okay.
She helps out an awful lot when we go to race circuits. She does a lot of the social media while we're there, and she helps set up the cameras, and she'll put feelers out for guests and things like that. So she does a fantastic job when she has the time. But I'm careful not to put too much on her, because she's busy enough keeping her own business going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondered, like when we was at Cadwell and you did that live interview with Andy, which I had him on, by the way. Big shout out to Andy, man. He actually sent me his newest book, Dave. Dude, he sent me his newest book and he signed it for me and everything. And I was like, bro, what an honor.
I didn't get one of those.
Huh?
I didn't get one. I don't have words with Andy, but
absolutely, Andy, if you're listening to this, Dave needs one, man. Absolutely. But what equipment do you use to carry it there at Cadwell to keep all that noise down, right? What do you use?
I have, I think I know it's all zipped up. I have a couple of Shure, what are they, SM58 microphones. So they're the handheld ones that sit here, which do cut a lot of the background noise out. But I also post-process the audio and then realign it with the video. So you put it through Adobe Audition. I have a couple of presets on there that'll just take the background out a little bit, or if we're in an echoey room, it will take the reverb down a little bit, and you can make the audio as crisp as possible. I mean, it's great to have the background noise, especially at a race circuit. People love it. It gives that ambience to the show, and it's like, you're at a race circuit. Let's hear motorcycles. and that really adds to the show. But yeah, I record the audio separately and then process it, line it back up. So whenever we start, there's always a clap so you can align the audio to the video, and then I do it that way.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was like, man, because I was supposed to do one with Lizzie there at the track, and the Wi-Fi. I was like, there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do it.
You've no chance. You're lucky if you got a phone signal. Never mind a data signal,
bro. Absolutely, it was.
You can't text anybody at Cadwell. You just have to shout.
Yeah, that's a fact. Absolute fact. So. Yeah, right. So all that was pre-recorded. You pre-recorded that and then cut it and edited it and did all that stuff.
Yeah, the only time I go live is if we get a YouTube live with Ben when he gets a chance. Everything else is all pre-recorded and then edited and then uploaded as much in advance as we can.
Yeah. So you do your normal schedule. So here lately, man, I've been, dude, I'm actually booked out to. I'm filling in for June and July now for the podcast.
Good.
That's how far. Yeah, I know, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome, right? And so I've been overworking myself. I'm gonna lie, because there's some weeks I would do podcasts 5 days a week. And part of that is just I'm so into it and I'm so excited and I don't, because I got people messaging me like, hey man, can I be on your podcast? And I get from dads and moms and riders, and
you do them all, but then when they're done, you crash. The energy that it takes to do them and setting up, and like I say, the anxiety and the stress of putting them together. Once you stop, it's like that run we did a couple of weeks ago that I was fortunate to get on. By the time I'd finished that, the 8 shows in 2 weeks, that you're like nearly falling off the end of the final one with Jack Valentine. But it was great. So yeah, I'm not out now till I've had a couple of weeks where I haven't had a show. I'm out next week on Tuesday. Then I've got one on Friday, one on Saturday. And then I think we're waiting for a friend of mine to come back from Qatar, who's a MotoGP mechanic. And then we're going to sit down with him next time I'm over in Lincolnshire and talk about that, which you'll enjoy because he works for Trackhouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, there's plenty lined up, and there's always things in the background, and I don't, you never know who's watching, so I'm going to say too much of who's coming up or who's coming on. But yeah, we're looking good for the next 2 months now, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Like you said, I never would imagine how much work it is, but it is absolutely, it's like I'm constantly either on social media, on my phone, on WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger, Instagram. I mean, I get messages on TikTok, and then setting it up and doing all this.
Keeping on top of those, because how quick you reply helps the algorithm. So you have to reply reasonably quickly, and it's positive. And the same on YouTube. And when you're active on all of those platforms, the algorithm then sees that you're active, and you kind of like this. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, I'm 51. It's like, shouldn't be doing social media and stuff like that at my age. That's a kid's thing. We do all right with it. We do good.
I feel you, dude. I do, man. It's like sometimes I wish like I did have somebody I could just pay somebody just to do my social media every day for me, right?
Well, the idea, the best thing is I'd like Jen to do less hours and cover her costs and let her do some of the social media stuff. She really enjoys it. She likes to learn and do new things and be creative, but I don't want to do too much because she's still got a full-time job, and having that on top of it isn't fair. So over the course of the next 12 months, if we can bring in some sponsorship for the show, which we're going to start looking at over the next couple of weeks, and bring some income into the show, then, there are opportunities there then to help out a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near there. I need to.
It'll come, mate.
I know. Like I said, I'm not even. It's not even on my radar, right? I'm just an honor just to have my own hats and my shirts and give away stickers and stuff. It's cool for me, right?
It is the coolest thing.
It is, man. It is. Everybody's like, man, you got any stickers? I'm like, yeah, I do. Hold up. Right now, I'm such honored and all, but I'm like, yeah, here you go. Right. I got to order more stickers. I order more stickers. I'm like, yeah, I got more stickers. Here you
I
go.
ordered some as well. Yeah. I put an order in last week for some stickers ready for the season.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. So listen, man, we got, dude, 2024 is for your podcast. You're on a whole new level, right? It's going to be proper mega this whole season for you. But as far as racing goes, Dave, man, there's so much to talk about, so much to get into across all boards, right? So I know we'll just start with my home country, right? Moto America. Obviously, Jake Gagne is still with the TAC Yamaha. We got Loris Baz back in there for a little while. I mean, I don't know how true it was. I did hear a rumor going around that we had a chance of getting Glenn Irvin at one point. I don't know how true that was, right? But where there's smoke, there's fire, you know?
Yeah, I kind of think, I think the same. We'll find out about that in the next couple of weeks, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know a huge amount about Moto America. I'll be completely honest. It's because we don't get it live over here anymore, like we used to when it was AMA and it was Ben Spies and it was Matt Mladen, and you could watch all of those guys on a weekend. Was brilliant to watch. But we don't get it live anymore, so you lose touch with who's doing what and what's going on. We struggle to get Daytona. You have to go through NBC and you have to have a VPN, and it's such hard work to get hold of the American racing, which is disappointing because they have some great riders, some great circuits. Daytona's always an absolute blast. And your friend of mine, Brandon Pash, we know Brandon really well. He's a good friend, and it would be nice to see what he can do. And let's see what Loris Baz can do as well, going over there and ploughing his trade. But he's not going to find it, too easy. It's like when the outsiders come to BSB, they find it really difficult to adjust, especially at places like Alton Park and Cadwell. They just look at it and go, "What? Why?" And our guys have been brought up on it, or they've raced them, like Jason O'Halloran. He's raced it for the past sort of 15 years or more. And Brooksy the same in the last sort of 10 or 12 years. So, they're used to it. But coming in from the outside, it's, as Tito Rabat found out, it's a tough place. And Moto America is no different.
Yeah.
Apart from Tony Elias, obviously, who was GP level rider and had the machinery and weighs about 4 stone wet through.
Yeah, right. Like Danny Perdosa for real. Yeah, little jockey riders on horses is what they are. Yeah. It's so listen, lucky for you. I got the Moto America app, so I'll send you my login, my password, and all that. You can watch 2024 season for free. You and Jennifer kick back and enjoy the show. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep, I got you. So Moto America, man, it's going to be good. We got Ben Spies is back in the paddock, not as a rider, but as a manager.
Yeah,
Ray Hall, right, which is going to be good. We got Cam Bobier back. He'll be his second season back on the Tyler's BMW. I mean, there's so much going on. Super Sport class is stacked. The whole series is going to be good. So
SDK returning.
SDK is back too. He's on a BMW. I forget exactly what team he's riding for. Top Pro, I think. I think is who it is.
It's good for him. I'm glad he's got a decent ride. He's a good kid.
Me too. Roy Skinner back at TAS. Yep, which is good.
It's good. It's
absolutely.
So they had a difficult season, the pair of them, and it's good to see them on good competitive rides.
Yeah, man, my whole just the whole way that they did, Roy and SDK and that whole Moto 2 class. I just, that's part of racing though. It's just unfair sometimes, right? Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, 100%. And there's sometimes when you look at racing, it's some things you look at and you just have to shake your head because how things happen is just incredible sometimes. And it happens all the time. It just so happens that we know both the guys that are involved, but it happens almost every week. Every week in certainly in that MotoGP paddock. It is brutal, absolutely brutal. And it's not somewhere I don't want to work there. I have no dream to work in MotoGP or anything like that. you have to go in early and sort of grow with the paddock and earn your spurs and understand the nuances of that paddock, and just that nothing's impossible in that paddock.
Yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, so Moto America is going to be good this year. All the classes are going to be good. So obviously we do know BSP and World Superbike and MotoGP. So let's start off with World Superbike. I'm gonna say BSB for last because it's my no, that and the TT, right? But one more thing on Moto America, we are getting Peter Hickman in for the Daytona 200. So let's go, Hickey. Absolutely. Yep, him and
him as well.
Roger. No, his name's not Roger. What's his name? Hickey and God, Richard. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Yep. So World Superbike, baby, top rack on the BMW. First race has already happened, right? Johnny Ray on the Yamaha.
So many stories from that weekend.
Oh my God.
Many stories. It was scripts that you couldn't write. The fact that they resurfaced Phillip Island and it was still like riding on a cheese grater for the tires. Whether they have to use a certain mix of asphalt for Phillip Island because it's so close to the coast, it's so close to the sea, and the wind and everything else. I guess they have to use a different asphalt to what we use over here. That's really quite abrasive, sort of more stones than actual tar. I don't know. I'm surmising in a lot of ways, but it is certainly one of the most abrasive circuits in the world. And then to have it resurfaced and then go, okay, you can do no more than 11 laps in the race, but then you have a minimum time pit stop, which equals out the single-sided swing arm for the Ducati, and you can't leave pit lane after 1 minute and 3 or whatever it was in the Superbikes. I think it was 1 minute and 11 for Supersport. And you have to keep a constant speed through the beams because then it'll trip up the sensors if you don't, as Toprak found out. And it just became just a bit of a mess, but the racing was brilliant. Buliger was on fire. The crash knocked him. And, he had a couple of heavy crashes while he was there. Jonathan Ray didn't know which way was up after free practice and qualifying. And then, unfortunately, that big crash in the race really sort of put the cap on the weekend for him. But Toprak on the BMW, that was immense. Buliger was immense. Locatelli has come of age as well. I think that he's kind of got the monkey off his back. There's been a change of crew chief as well with Andrew Pitt going to Jonathan's side, and Locker getting new crew chief, but still a lot of his old staff from last year. So it's been what an amazing weekend of race. So good to have competitive racing back at last.
At last, I know. And then
Alex, don't forget what Alex did.
Double
race winner. I was getting
yes. Yeah, and then Andrea Iannone, right back, the maniac. It was good to see him.
That for me wasn't a massive surprise, given that he was, a decent peddler in MotoGP. You don't lose it. He might be a little bit rusty, but he was in MotoGP for a reason. And he's a rider that is on his day was world class. That's why he was there. So yeah, that didn't surprise me too much. But if we get to a couple of circuits that he doesn't know, maybe that'll be a bit of a leveler. But it'd be a long time since he's been to Donington Park and places like that. But they're at Catalonia next, and he's raced there before, so it'd be good to see what he can get up to as well.
Yeah, I'm glad to have him back, and I loved his tribute helmet to Gobert.
Superb, lovely,
absolutely amazing. Yeah,
lovely.
Josh Brooks just come out with a tribute helmet too, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Brooksy? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Brooksy's come out one. Yeah, Rich Stevens at Rich Art Concepts, who does Brooksy's helmets every year for him. He's got a tribute one for this year. Yeah,
absolutely. And you see my original Gobert helmet right here. Yep.
Behind you.
Yep, that was back before he had the Reaper on the back. I think that was one of his first ones, maybe. I don't know. My buddy gave it to me. He's like, "Hey, man, do you want this? I'm gonna throw it away." He sent me a picture of it. I was like, "That's Anthony." Yeah, absolutely, I do. Just bring it.
I'll come and get it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll give you. As a matter of fact, I'll pay you for it. Right? That's what I was saying. I will pay you for that helmet.
We need to say hello to Chloe Jones while she's on.
Absolutely, Chloe Jones. What is up? Chloe's awesome. I'm so happy on a RS 660 this year.
She's
Can't
all right.
wait. Yeah, she's all right. Yeah, you're okay, Chloe. No, Chloe's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad she's finally over her illness. So
yeah,
bravo.
She was good fun to work with at OMG. She had a difficult season when she rode for the team, but we got on good and tried to look after her as best we could. But yeah, I'm looking. She did a great job last year in the super sport class, in the junior super sport, and to see her go well this coming year, I think she's in for a great season. I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do.
Absolutely, me too. And then Mark Allen says, "Hey Dave, I bet you won't be able to shut Tim and Tom up about Rossi's ranch." Yeah, I seen.
There's a good 20 minutes at the end of next week's show where we talk about that.
Yeah, I know that's something I wanted to ask him about. Like, how is it actually being at? That's his thing. Our podcast with that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
we got a lot of time for Mark as well and his son Luca. Looking forward to seeing what Luca can do, who's been on your show as well.
Oh, Luca, absolute proper legend, dude. Luca Allen is awesome. Yes, yes. So is Harry Cook, man. All those guys.
Yeah, all good guys. Yeah, the future
Jake,
of British racing.
Yep. Jake Marsh, Cameron Frazier. I could sit here and go on and on. It's crazy. Lizzie Whitmore, right? Congratulations, Lizzie. FIM. She's actually teammates with my friend Mallory Dobbs that races in Moto America here. So yeah, I can't wait to
it's an interesting one. And I don't know how that's going to go. Not for Lizzie generally, but just how it all sets up. You got Anna Carrasco in there.
Yep.
Different level. But yeah, brilliant for Lizzie. Social for her.
Yeah, me too. Over the moon. And then Tara, man, I can never remember her last name. She's gonna be in there. She's super fast too. I forget the team she's with, but she's one to watch out for too in that series. I think it's great, man. To have that. And I'm super excited that they're following World Superbike around. So it's gonna be it's going to be good. I was hoping Garrett Gerloff was going to be a little higher up in the order, but again, Phillip Island comes with their own, like you said, repave. It was eating tires up, the crazy pit stops, all that stuff that goes along with it.
Look where the rest of the BMWs were compared to Toprak. I know Toprak had a bit of an issue, didn't he? And then it went bang in the final race,
which was spectacular.
Yeah, Alex Lowe's, I think it was like. Took him a couple of laps just to recover from that, because I can't imagine what it's like following another bike that lets go. It's so much going through your mind, making little buttons out of the seat, and just not for me. But looking at the pace he had beyond the other three BMWs was mind blowing. Once they get that thing in the window and then they get him a little bit more comfortable on it, I think he'll be a challenge. It's not short of power, that's for sure.
No, it absolutely not. Then my man Scott Redding. So yeah, they still got work to do, just like Honda, right? HRC out there in the World Superbike.
That's a slow project, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man.
That's not working too well at all. And replacing Leon Camier with a new team manager, I don't know. It's in the years that they've been doing that since they came back into it, with the 2 years with Bautista and with Leon Haslam, and then with Lecuona and Vieje. Unless you look at the timesheets and see the distance from them to the leader as that's coming down, they don't seem to be making too much progress on the in the actual results, which is a shame for someone like HRC.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll figure it out, or they'll just come out with a new bike, right? I mean,
if it isn't broke, if you can't fix it, throw another bike at it.
Right, throw another bike at it. That wouldn't have been a start. I mean, that's HRC's motto, right?
Put it in the crusher.
Yeah, put it in the crusher and let's come out with a whole new one. And then of course, MotoGP, man. MotoGP is Marc Marquez on the Ducati. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody they don't even have to listen to this podcast. If you're into two wheels only, you already know what's going on in MotoGP. Let's just be honest. So from seeing all the practices, right, all the way leading up to right now where we're talking, who do you think, who's in your top three, the top three finishers at the end of the year in MotoGP as of right now?
Hang on, bear with me 1 second.
No, go ahead.
I bet I can't find it straight away.
You're good, mate. Cora, what is up?
Oh, there it is.
Look, here you go. I already knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I already knew who your number one was, Pecco Bagnaia.
That's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah, I mean, Pecco's been absolutely imperious in testings, breaking lap records at Sepang and at Qatar, which is just incredible. Obviously the 2024 Ducati is clearly a weapon, more so than the 23 bike was. It took a little bit of time to get going, but any Ducati rider is going to be there or thereabouts this year. Whether Pecco will win it or not, I don't know. I think he seems to have a massive air of confidence this year. Jorge Martin, he has the potential to be distracted by who he rides for next year. I don't think he'll stay at Pramac, especially they're announcing that Fermin Aldiger is moving to Pramac for 25, isn't he? That was announced early today. Yep. So that's either him or Morbidelli that's moving on. But he has expressed his dissatisfaction that if he doesn't ride in red for 25, that he will go elsewhere. And I got this sneaky little feeling that maybe we'll see a 93 in red for 2025, because why wouldn't you? Why would you not put, if Mark can even if he challenges for the title, which Ducati won't want, they always want the red bikes to finish first and second, and then another Ducati third. And if that's Mark, then great. He's going to be it's going to be a big threat this year. And I think it will be between Pecco and Jorge Martin again. Don't think the Aprilias are strong enough. I'd like to see Bezzecchi move up a little bit more. Don't think the Yamaha has quite brought anything to the table, or the Honda. So I think it's between the Ducatis. Digi, I would like to see Digi top 6 on a regular basis. I really like him. But the top 3, Pecco, Jorge Martin, and Mark. But in what order? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes along with this love-hate relationship with Martin and Ducati, right? Because he feels betrayed. I personally, and I've said this before, I think he's going to be one of the first riders to announce he's jumping ship for 2025 this year. And I have a feeling it might be pretty early. I don't know how early, but I think he is the first one to go. And so with saying that, I think that Ducati's even in a worse predicament this year, because now you got the number 93 on the Grassini bike, right? Like you said, they don't want the satellite team to win, right? Because let's say, for instance, Martin did, it wouldn't have been Pramac with the number 1. They would have swapped him and Bastianini, right? And then boom. Yeah, right away. Like that evening, like take that shirt off, put this shirt on, see ya. Yeah, facts. That's exactly how it go down, right? It's been real.
They'd have had to pay somebody an awful lot of money for that privilege to happen. But you imagine having the number 1 on a satellite bike. It doesn't bear thinking about. So I think if I don't know, I'm surmising. I have no idea. I don't have that many good links in the MotoGP paddock. It's all sort of hypothesis, same as we all do. But yeah. I think that Jorge Martin will disappear from the Ducati fold. I think he's not going to get the right. His chance came and went when Bastianini was promoted rather than him. And it turns out that he was a stronger rider in 2023. So I think Ducati maybe picked the wrong guy then, but obviously Enea was injured at Portimao and never really recovered for the rest of the season until he showed his true colours towards the end, which was great to see. And hopefully he'll stay fit for this year, and he might just, make a fist of it. We can't really count him out either if the bike's as good as it says, as Pecco's showing it to be. So there's always that option there. But I think that all eyes will be on Mark for 2024. Sorry, confused about what year we're in already.
Yeah, right. Me too.
I'm still not used to it.
Right. Yeah. I said, are we in 2025? They're like, no, it's just now 2024. I was like, duh. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I got a lot on my mind. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Dave. It's there's so much going on, so much to play. dude, MotoGP is one of the most crazy rumor mills there is in our two-wheel world, right?
There's only 4 riders in contract for 2025.
That's what I was going to say. Yep, that's it.
22 riders now that are all looking for the same seats, but something's got to give. If Firmin Aldeguer is coming up, then something's got to give. Somebody has to make way into a different championship or as a test rider. And you don't really see where that is unless, Augusto Fernandez, Raul Fernandez has got a lot to prove to keep his seat and to keep moving forward. But where do you think Jorge Martin will end up? I have a small theory, well, it's actually a guess, but where do you think he'll end up?
Dude, I would love to see, honestly, I have 2. One is either KTM or Aprilia. And the reason why I say KTM is because of Augusta. He's got to step his game up, dude. He was 2 seconds off, right? I mean, you got baby Jeebus right next to you that was just on fire, which puts Jack Miller at risk, right? I see Jack Miller maybe doing some type of testing role, going to World Superbike or something. And dude, there's so many kind of plays right there, Raul and the Aprilia squads, especially with even Aleix Espargaro saying that, he might be done after the end of this year. Maverick needs to step his game up at Aprilia because he has not done anything but be world champion.
Challenges for the championship, I don't think they'll keep him.
See, so to me,
I think Jorge Martin will end up at Aprilia.
Yep, that's what I think. I think it'd be either of those 2.
Factory, and it's a factory contract. Yeah. That's what he wants. He wants to be a factory rider, and you wouldn't necessarily go to Honda or Yamaha at this point. And I don't think there'll be room for him at KTM. They have their own process to go through. So I have a feeling he may well end up at Aprilia.
I would love to see it because I think he'd do really well at Aprilia. I do.
I think they need the next level of rider because Aleix is a great rider, but he's not challenging for a championship. Maverick is an incredible rider on his day, but his day isn't very often. So for the effort that Rivola and the team are putting in, I think if they can pick somebody who's a regular top 5, top 6 rider, then that will make the difference for them.
Yeah, I think that Aleix would be a great test rider. He's in with Aprilia. He's been there since the beginning of the project, believed in him, stuck by him, and got it to where it is now, to be honest with you, right? He's a big...
He becomes Aprilia's Danny Pedrosa, doesn't he?
Yeah. Absolutely. And then Maverick too. My whole thing with Maverick's downfall has always been his mental game. Mentally, he is not strong. I think this is what I'm saying. This is just me talking. I think his big downfall was with Yamaha. When he left Yamaha to go to Aprilia, there was behind us, whatever it was, right? We don't know because we're not in the garage. When the garage doors shut, we don't hear those conversations. So to me, it seems like mentally he's never come back from that. To me, that's just me personally, because he's challenged for a win maybe 3 or 4 times since he's been with Aprilia, maybe.
Yeah, I mean they go well at Silverstone, don't they? Because they're big, long, sweeping curves, big, long straights. They can use the power of the Aprilia, and Aleix always goes well there. Maverick goes well there. But yeah, it's a strange one. I think Aleix could be a decent test rider, no doubt. But I think he's still got a little bit to offer. But Maverick, he had his issues in Moto3 when you go way back, when he left the team and he stormed out of the circuit. And I forget, it might have been Sepang or somewhere like that, and didn't come back for it when he was, I think it was for Bluesen's Aprilia.
Yep, that's exactly.
No, the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that a 1, 2, 5 or a Moto3? I forget. The years are advancing quicker than my brain cells. But in the Tiddler class anyway. So yeah, he's always a bit of a worry with his mental approach.
Yeah, but overall, it's going to be exciting also because all the contracts are up except for the 4. It's a big game.
Bigger story than the race in itself.
It is. It really is. And so sprint race has been going on for a while. Now, we've never really talked about what's your view on the sprint races, Dave? You like them?
Yeah, but it's an extra race. What's not to love? Right. But I think in terms of what the riders have to go through, the mechanics, and the stress that it puts on them. There's a lot less stress in FP4 than there is in a sprint race. And I think for me, what they should have done is done it like every 3 rounds, something like that, and not made it an integral part of the championship from the very start. F1 do the same thing. Do they have like 5 or 6 sprint races? Maybe, I don't know. I don't follow it that closely. I'll watch it if it's on. But if they had maybe 1 in 3 was a sprint race, it gives you something extra to look forward to, and they're bonus points in that respect. They're not part of the championship, and when you have to strategize the races as much as they do, in the flip side to it, the sprint races have been fantastic because it's half the number of laps. It's proper racing. It's not the strategy that the full GP is at 24, 25, 26 laps, where bugger all happens until the end of the race because everybody's trying to save tires. They're trying to not fall foul of the tire pressure rule, and it's not the Grand Prix has not been the most exciting through 2023, but the sprints have been fabulous. So yes, it's been great from a racing and from a fan's perspective. From a championship perspective and injuries and things like that, I think it's robbed us of a few riders over the season.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I agree 110%. That's my exact view. The only thing I would add to it is, man, dude, if I'm a sprint rider and I win a sprint race, I won a fucking race, right? I don't care. I won the race. That's me. That's me in the winner's circle. That's me holding that track. That's me number 1. I won that. Don't take it away from me. Yeah, it's a sprint race.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to call them races, are you? It's just a sprint. The Grand Prix is a race, but the sprint is a sprint race.
Yeah. That's the only thing I would add to that. That's it. But yes, so MotoGP. So here we go, man. My 2 favorite series in the world, that the TT and BSB. We'll start with the TT, man.
Go.
Michael Dunlop, 130 miles an hour on a 600. People, I'll say it again. Mickey D on a 600, 130. That is probably to me the biggest story of it.
It was coming. When they came back in 22, he did a 129.7, I think. And they'd resurfaced Sulby, they'd resurfaced from Ginger Hall. The circuit was in far better condition than it was when they came back after the break in 22. And yeah, it's absolutely no surprise. He is. They all are, but Michael is particularly phenomenal on that Honda CBR 600.
Man, 130 on a 600. I was like, dude, you got to be. I mean, that's not far off a superbike or a super stock. Yeah, it's 6 miles an hour, but that's.
Well, no, it's not. There are riders that still race at the TT that are yet to join the 130 club on a stocker or on a superbike.
That's true.
The marker's moved now. For the last few years, it's been joining the 125 club, but now sort of Pete and Dean and Michael have moved the goalpost towards 136. The new 125 club is the 130, and the same was. It was to get into 130, and then it was to be a 125. A 120, then a 125, and then a 130. So the 130 club is now what was the 125, and now the next club to join is the 135.
Yeah, it's
myself up here, but yeah, that's the next goal for a lot of riders is for your Davey Todds and riders like that. You know, the 135 is the next goal.
That's just absolutely unbelievable, dude. It's crazy that hit me in the 136. I'm thinking to myself, like, how long is it going to take till we see the magical 140? Right now, I'm sure 10 years ago they were thinking the same thing. How long is it going to be till we see the 130? Right now there's no way they're going to be doing 135. Peter Hickman, went past that by it's
think it's possible. We had this chat back in 2022 with Sam West, and Sam firmly believes that at some point we will get a 140 lap. And a lot of that is down to the road surface, the bikes. He thinks the bikes are quick enough as it is to do it as they are, because it's down to the rider. You can't get 100% of the bike everywhere on that circuit these days. The rider, there's a million variables to a TT lap, both from rider, machine, and I can't remember what Pete's ideal lap was when you take each of his best sectors. I might be speaking out of turn. I think it was 138. If he did every sector perfect, that would have been his ideal lap. I might be speaking out of turn. I can't remember, but it's really not all that far away from 140. Where does it stop? I think I'd be very surprised if we do ever see it, but who's to say?
That absolutely right. And then on top of that, dude, Mickey D has the opportunity to pass the great Joey Dunlop this year with another win, right? What do you think the chances of that are happening?
I think you can never say it's 100%, but I think it's as strong as it can be. He needs one to equal Uncle Joey, and then obviously two to become the new greatest of all time. And that's special. There are arguments that when you're sat in a pub, you're going to get somebody that's going to go, yeah, but, and yeah, but he has 20, or he has the potential to come away with 28 or 29, depending on how his week goes. Hell, he could, if he really has a good week, he could come out with 30. It's Hutchie did 5 in a week. If Michael does 5 in a week, he's on 30. It's improbable, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, you're right. And Hutchie, from what I remember, I could be wrong. Isn't he the only one that did 5 wins in the TT week? He's the only one to ever do it.
Hickey's done 4 a couple of times.
Yeah.
But with Super Twins, with Super Sport, Super Stock, Superbike, and Senior, you've got some opportunities to do it.
You do, and a lot of people don't realize, man, when it comes to the TT racing, it's not like short circuit racing when one rider's on 1 or 2 bikes. It's the same exact bike, right? You're going from a 1000 to Super Stock to a Twin to a 600, and you don't get a lot of practice. So it's immediately on it and flat out from the get-go. Them guys are absolutely, guys and girls are just superhuman on a whole nother level. They really are.
I have such I guess there are elements of the TT I absolutely adore. There are elements of the TT I really struggle with. We're going this year. We paid the ferry just yesterday. We're going over Wednesday to practice week to the Saturday tea time, and I can't wait. We missed it last year. We had a bad year in 22 with the people that we lost. And working for the team it's really intense. And last year I was like, nah, I don't want to go. 22 took me a long time to get over it. People come away from that place drained after 2 weeks at the TT, and there's no break, and then you're straight off to Knock Hill, and it's the adjustment's incredible. But I can't wait to go back. I really can't. We're going to go to the Northwest. We're going to go to the TT. They are just amazing events. And yeah, I can't wait to be there. There's something very, very special about the TT. You can feel the history. And it's what they say, as you say, what the boys and girls do, the pressure the mechanics and the teams are under, just to get the bikes ready, not just the pit stops that they do. And I know after talking to a lot of the boys that work out there that they don't get a lot of sleep, because they're forever thinking, have I done that? Have I tightened this? They've double checked it and triple checked it, and sometimes they still doubt themselves.
Yeah, it's listen, the TT is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life on 2 wheels. Absolutely. And I've never been there. It's on my bucket list. So that's next. besides coming back to Cadwell Park for sure. And to me, Cadwell Park, that mountain jump's the most beautiful thing I've seen on short circuits in my entire life too, as well. Right? Let's just be honest. It's
hard to describe, isn't it?
It's listen, it's been my favorite track, and I've seen it on TV many times, played it on video games, but it's absolutely, dude. You know, so you go to racetracks, you see like turn one at Coda and our Laguna Seca, the corkscrew, and all this shit, right? You're like, yeah, it's steep, it's that. But to see them physically jump like Brooks and Vickers, man, they're 4 or 5 feet in the tire in their air, and you're like, holy shit! Like it shouldn't happen. Just like the TT, right? You're like, this shouldn't be happening. This is not real, but it is, and you feel, yes, it's absolutely magical. It's the most beautiful thing.
I mean, that was the first racetrack I ever went to when I was 5 years old, back in 1970 something. So I've been going. It's only 45 minutes from my hometown. You know my connection to Cadwell,
Yep.
And it would be a travesty if we ever lost it off the calendar. But conversely, I understand completely why we could maybe one day lose it off the calendar.
Well, hopefully that never happens.
No, I do as well. You know, in this day and age,
you never know.
No, with the Superbikes, it's a very, very small circuit, very narrow circuit. There's not a lot of width to it. So
no, but that mountain jump is beautiful. But I'm telling you, everybody should get on a plane and go and watch it.
What did I tell you about turn one?
Yes, dude. So I was just talking about this with my buddy the other day. I was like, because he's like, yeah, you keep talking about the mountain. I was like, listen, turn one, bro, no bullshit, is absolutely amazing, beautiful there. Like on a Superbike, I think by listening, correct me if I'm wrong, they're 5th gear on a Superbike going through there.
Yeah, whether they go back 1 or 2 from the start. But then throw it in. It's cambered. It's beautiful. You're looking down on them. I don't know if they're 120 miles an hour, something like that, at the apex, and then they have to come over the crown to go then right through Charlie's 1 and Charlie's 2 as they disappear over the hill,
which is blind, and you can't see over it at all.
You can't see it. Charlie's 1 to Charlie's 2 is blind. Yeah.
It's a magical place.
You can't make circuits like that. They have to be natural. Like Alton Park, they've got to follow the natural flow of the land. And Brands Hatch in the valley, superb. We're very fortunate.
Yes, very, very fortunate, right? I wish we were the size of the UK. I could drive from north to south in 6-7 hours, 10 hours to get to Daytona, and that's driving straight through, you know. And that's only a couple states away. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think our furthest is 5. That's Snetterton. That's 5 hours.
Yeah, that's nothing.
250 miles.
Yeah, that's
like round the corner for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that for a pint of milk, Simcoe.
Right. So yeah, man. Listen, we talked about TT, man. I think that obviously Hickman, man. I think Hickman's got a very good opportunity to win the senior again. But the TT is one of those things, man, that it's hard to make any predictions just because of what it is, the history.
Can't.
You really can't.
There is every chance that Hickey will add to his TT tally. He's so good on the big bike. We haven't mentioned Dean moving to Honda. This is Dean's chance. Dean Harrison moving from Dow Racing not doing the TT at all this year. Away from his long love with Kawasaki, he's now on the same kit as Michael on the factory Honda, Michael on the Hawk Honda. That's the ammunition he's wanted. So let's see what he can do. Davey Todd on the BMW. John McGuinness, he's still fast. Like he says, once the younger lads beat me, they can have my ride. Until then, I'll keep going. Nathan Harrison, hopefully this year will be fully fit. He was injured at the Northwest last year, wasn't he? And he missed the TT. So he has a point to prove this year, and that would be something special for the guy who lives, in Onken, just down the road. So Nathan's the future of the sport, along with Davey Todd and Joey Thompson, Jim Hind. Who else is young? There's a few.
All of them besides us.
They're all younger than me. That's the start.
That's what I said. All of them besides us.
McGuinness is just younger than me.
Yeah, McGuinness. Yeah, he's been, dude, what a legend, man. It's Joey Thompson, Forrest Dunn. He's a mate of mine. He's racing there too again this year. There's so many, man. All those guys are just absolute legends of the sport.
It's great to watch. You had Finn Smart-Whedon on, Finn's brother, Tom.
Yep.
Tom, another good rider. Rob Hodgson.
Yep.
So many.
It's the list can go on and on, man. And then you
got the list when you try not to forget people. So
I know. You're like Craig Neve, all of them, man. That's why, dude, I feel like I should just write all this down in my notebook before I do this, because then it'd be like 10 minutes of shout outs and all this, right?
Yeah, that's right. Then you don't get messages going out. Thanks for not mentioning me. You're like, oh,
I know, right? I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. So BSB, dude, 2024 is going to be absolutely my favorite race of the year was the last race. Glenn and Tommy, half a point between them.
So nervous for everybody,
dude. It was. Listen, at the end of the day, man, I wanted Glenn to win, then I wanted Tommy to win, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, man, I just want PBM to win, right? Because of Birdie and
the whole situation. That it was down to those two. Yeah. It was. I mean, I can't. It's been a while since we've had a season like that with proper needle, and it polarized the fans. And both riders know how to. They both played social media really well. Glenn particularly has played social media beautifully, especially over the winter. Some of the stuff he's posted, and you kind of, when you know the game, you know what's coming, and a lot of the fans aren't. I'm privileged to understand how things work behind the scenes, and a lot of fans haven't had that opportunity. So there's so many are so desperate to find out what Glenn's doing for 2024, but he's played the social media game beautifully. Who won the championship? I've got friends in both sides of the camp, and I think at the time the best man won. I think Tommy had his opportunities. He took them. Glenn had his opportunities. Sometimes he took them. Sometimes he didn't have the chance. And I think it's testament to the team that the bikes were as good as they were. And it was one of the best finales we had since Hill and Hopkins.
I was going to say 2011. Yeah.
2011 goes a long way to beat that. Do you want to lose by half a point, or do you want to lose by 0.6 thousandths of a second? It's either way. Nobody wants to be, nobody wants to have the winners' t-shirts thrown in the back of the truck and used as polishing rags, because they're always there. That's the thing that fascinates me. That if anybody's in with the shout of the championship at the end of the season, they have a box of t-shirts ready, and then they never gets to see the light of day.
I wonder, dude, I always wondered to myself, what do they do with those t-shirts? I mean, you can't sell them.
No, there's nothing you can do with them.
No
nothing you can do with them. I have one hung up in my wardrobe from 22. That's probably the only one I'll ever have. But yeah, you can imagine that 2 or 3 riders just think, or the teams will have them. Sometimes the riders won't even know they're there, because that's a difficult thing. I remember back in 2000, at Donington Park, there were a load of flags with Chris Walker's name on it. And it said Chris Walker, British Superbike champion. And I think he only had to literally push his bike round for 2 races, and he would have been crowned champion. But again, back in 2000, he was halfway through the second race. The GSXR let go. It was a 50p valve spring, and it looked like the space shuttle. Plumes of smoke, and that was his championship done. And Neal Hodgson went on to become 2000 British Superbike champion. But I remember seeing the flags of Chris Walker British champions. Wow, how nothing. You can't count your chickens in motorcycle racing. Not a chance.
No, absolutely not. I'll never forget that, because I was watching it. If I'm not mistaken, he was with GSE Ducati at the time.
Haji was, yeah.
Yep. Haji was, yep. See, I got a good memory, man. Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get to talk to Haji in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, dude, he's a legend. Hey, I met him in AMA. I got a poster of him on the Austin Ducati, actually, right there. Neal Hodgson, right there, number 100. Yeah, he's of course, dude. I've always been a fan of the whole BSB. So he come from over there, and I was just so happy. I was like, dude, I'm so happy you're here in America. I'm done my mind. He's just like, same thing. He's like, dude, your energy is just like crazy, right? He even said that back then. It was awesome. Great guy, man. Always took the time, even when the crowd would come around him. It was funny because I was standing there. I was like, it's Neal Hodgson. And, all my friends were like, who the hell is Neal Hodgson? I'm like, what are you kidding me right now? I'm just that special nerd when it comes to motorcycle racing, I guess. I don't know.
Plenty of us about. That's what makes the sport so good.
It does, man. It does. Dude, bro, we've been at this for an hour and a half already, and it only seems like
flown by, hasn't it?
Dude, I love it. Dude, absolutely. I love it. But unfortunately, I got to go back to work sometime. So we're going to end this here soon. But before I do, Dave, I want to get into my favorite part of the interview. All these good, juicy personal questions I got, right?
I was hoping you'd missed out on those.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, gotta go. Thanks very much.
Good night. Right. Okay, bye, dude. Bam. All right. I'll go easy on you.
Go for it, mate. Hit me with it.
All right. So, do you have a favorite movie, Dave?
Yes.
What is it?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Nice. Absolute. Which one? 1, 2, or 3? First one. Yeah.
The original's the best.
Absolutely. There's very few times
I ever watched that will always be in the top 3, but it's usually I would say that's my favorite film.
Yeah, it's and it's scary sometimes when they make a part 2 and part 3 because you don't want to mess them up. You're like, please don't mess this up. Please don't mess this up.
They worked okay, but the original is still the best.
It is just like Top Gun and Ghostbusters and the Goonies only made
Goonies
one.
Goonies is great. I'm a child of the 80s, so
yeah, me too. Right, again, giving away our age. So I'm a big audiobook listener, right? I listen to a ton of audiobooks. So if so, do you yourself, and what book are you reading right now or listening to?
I don't listen to audiobooks. I have a Kindle, so I read every night before I fall asleep. And I'm reading a book at the moment. I forget what the author's called, but it's called The Key. It's part of a trilogy. The first book was called Sanctus, and the second one is called The Key. And it's based around a place called Ruin in Turkey, and in the Citadel. It's kind of an adventure CIA. It involves the Roman Catholic Church and a girl who's a reporter, and they find things out in Iraq, and the Roman Catholic Church tried to stop them, and they're looking for the Garden of Eden. The Citadel held the sacrament, which was the spirit of Eve. So that then it all revolves around that, and it's absolutely fascinating. It's a great story. I like a good adventure.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Indiana Jones in a way, right?
A little bit. I change all the time. That I like a lot of CIA. I like a lot of spy stuff. I like a lot of aviation. I like a lot of motorcycle racing stuff. So when new books come out, Stewie Barker, who's a great motorcycle writer, he read his book recently on Evel Knievel. And he did, what else has he done? I think he's done John Reynolds, he's done Neil Mackenzie, he's done a book on Barry Sheen. He's also doing one on Ian Simpson that comes out towards a TT.
Oh, nice.
I've read a few of those recently as well.
Yeah, all the motorcycle books that I've actually read, I've read very few, but I've listened to, if they're on audiobooks, I listen to every single one of them on audio. John McGinnis, but out of all those, out of the motorcycle racer autobiographies, my favorite so far is John Hopkins' Leathered.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
it was no holds bar, tells 100% the truth, and I love that because you see what it actually was, because everybody goes through their own personal demons and their own personal fights, right? There's very few famous racers, riders, NASCAR, whoever it is, football, that comes out and actually tells the real deal. And to me, absolutely amazing book.
That was good. That was a good book, and written by Matt Roberts.
Yep, Matt Roberts.
Steve Parrish and with Shaky as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Good,
yes,
good. Really good.
Yeah, it was. It was absolute. And then,
speaking of NASCAR, sorry, I've just watched the Netflix series
of
NASCAR.
Was it good?
Oh, that's incredible. It's a shame we have to pay £12 a month to get NASCAR, because it was everything that the MotoGP documentary should have been. It wasn't trying to be Drive to Survive. It was its own thing. And we were absolutely fascinated by it. That was class. Really, really good.
I'm gonna have to watch it because I seen it on Netflix. I was like, man, I got it. But I'm not a fan of NASCAR, so I'm just like, yeah. But I'm gonna have to check it out now for sure. 100%. Music, Dave. What's in your playlist?
Oh man. Do you want me to have a look?
Yeah.
It's to be fair, it's easy. Luke Combs,
great artist.
Jordan Davis, Morgan Wallen, Bailey Zimmerman. So there's a massive, massive country vibe on the playlist. I love country music. Absolutely adore it. Went to see Luke Combs back in October when he toured the UK, and we go and see Bailey Zimmerman in May when he comes. He play in Manchester in May. But also, I still like the 90s Britpop. I love Oasis. And it's their 40th anniversary this year, and of my all-time favorite band. It's their 40th anniversary of their first single, Runaway. And I will and remain a massive Bon Jovi fan.
Yeah.
He can't sing for shit, but some would say he's never been able to. But for the last 10 years, his voice has been horrendous. But anything pre sort of 2015 is, for me, is just brilliant. So yeah, that's my number one band is Bon Jovi. But the country thing, super, love it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I like country. I love the old school classic rocks, the 70s, the 80s. You know, I'm really into big Frank Sinatra too. I listen to a lot of Frank Sinatra. It's something about, dude, he just jams, man. It puts me in this. Frank's my dude right there. And rap, man, so much. I mean, I like
What's
the
your
old
favorite movie, by the way?
Huh?
What's your favorite movie?
Top Gun. The original Top Gun. Absolutely, right? Because that's what my dad did. He was a fighter pilot off the, aircraft carriers when I was growing up. So, yeah, I remember him taking me to the movie theater, and I was just glued to it. Like, and the Tom Cruise on the GPZ 900, getting the girls and all that. I was like, dude, yeah, absolutely. This is the shit, right? Yeah.
100%.
100%. It's so that's my all-time favorite movie is Top Gun. I could watch it over and over. I know it line for line. Absolutely. It's one of those movies. Yeah. You never get sick of watching. You're just like, yeah, I can rewatch it. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
What Star Wars character would Dave Neal be?
Boba Fett.
Nice. Boba Fett. I'd be Darth Vader.
You would?
Yeah, man, because I like Anakin. Like, not the whole side of, Anakin. Like, okay, if I was personally going to be if I had to pick a Star Wars character, it'd be Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, he turns into Darth Vader. But if I was going to be a Star Wars character, I would be more like Ahsoka. I'd be like in the middle, right? I wouldn't be evil, but I wouldn't be fully good because I still want to get married and have kids, right? You can't do that if you're a Jedi, right? But I'm not going to be the evil side where I'm taking over and killing everybody. I'm going to protect everybody, but I wouldn't be a Jedi if that makes sense. But if I had to pick just one character, it would probably be, man, Darth Vader or Obi-Wan, dude, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But yeah, it's I was never a Star Trek fan. My brother, on the other, he's opposite, so he's a big, Star Trekky, all this. I can't even do it, whatever. Yeah.
Live long and prosper and all that.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah, whatever. I just get on there with a lightsaber and yeah, it'd be the end of the Enterprise for sure. Good stuff, man. All right, so favorite food, Dave. What is your favorite food?
Texas barbecue. Biscuit the hangover from the biscuit company in Fort Worth, hands down. But here, I don't know, I like a good Italian, I like good Chinese, I like good steak, good fish and chips. I just like good food.
Yeah, me too.
Good home cooked food.
I absolutely. Man, I love Greek, Thai, Indian. I mean, yeah, I'm the same way. As long as it's good food, I'm with it. And I like spice. Do you like spicy food?
I can take it or leave it. I'm not. It wouldn't be my first choice.
All right. Well, me, I'd be like, bring me the spice. Bring me all the spice. Yeah, for sure. Celebrity crush, Dave.
Oof. As a kid, it was Linda Carter.
Right.
Show me somebody of my age that it wasn't, or Daisy Duke.
Yeah.
But today, difficult. It's hard to pick one
because there's so many.
Yeah, I don't really pay much attention these days as much as you used to when you were younger. And I don't know. No, honestly, I can't think like actresses or singers. Or I don't. I'm not big into sort of modern music. I couldn't tell you who was number one in the charts or anything like that. That's those days are long gone. And as far as actresses and things like that, no, there probably is one, but I can't think off the top of my head. That's a really bad answer to the question. Sorry, mate.
It's okay. It's okay. You got time to think about it for our part 3 of this conversation. So yeah, I'll come back and ask you to on our next podcast. That's awesome. Me, man. I mean, there's so many. Oh man, dude. Like you said, but growing up, dude, be Salma Hayek. Dude, I always had a thing for her.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, Gail Gadget. She's beautiful too. I mean, there's
so many. Yeah, there's a lot of pretty actresses about, but just one that's a celebrity crush. I can't off the top of my head. I don't know.
Winnie from what was that TV show? Had Fred Savage in it. It'll come back to me anyway. Yeah,
you can always go down the Married with Children route.
Dude, Married with Children I love that. That was one of my favorite TV shows of all time. That and the Chappelle Show, absolutely, hands down.
Oh no, the Chappelle Show we never got, but we definitely got Married with Children.
Bro, you never seen the Chappelle Show? Oh, dude, all right. I'm gonna have to change that. Yeah, I will. You just let me worry about that. I got you on that. All right.
Is that where Dave Chappelle comes from? Is that his?
Yeah. No. So he had a TV series. It ran for I think 4 seasons or 3 seasons, and it was like a sketch comedy, and it was just absolutely brilliant. I mean, it was just brilliant. Yeah, I'll get it sorted for you, Dave. What advice would you give your younger self?
You are good enough.
Love it. I love it. Great. That'd be great advice. Yeah. You are good enough. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. What series? Man, probably the same thing. Like, I'm good enough. Honestly, it would be I'm good enough, and no matter what people think of you, you can't let what people think of you and judge you in whatever way they judge you. You got to be you because you're different than everybody else, just like you're different and just like she's different and he's different, right? So just beat to your own drum and just be as happy as you can, for real. And that's so hard to do, even especially as you get older as an adult, right? But yeah, that's to me now, that's why I'm so just go lucky, happy vibes all the time, no matter the situation. Like, oh my God, there's a big fire. We need fire extinguishers. I'm just like a jellyfish in the ocean. Okay, let's go put it out. No problem. All this. And people are like, how don't you freak out? I'm just like, I'm just happy.
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah.
We'll get it sorted out. No bother.
Yeah, we'll sort it out 100%. But yeah, just because it's hard when people, you try to fit in, and well, me growing up, man, I moved so much in the Navy, right? So I was constantly moving, constantly leaving friends, making friends. But I think that's what made me who I am today. And that's why I can talk to anybody and be in front of 10,000 strangers, grab the microphone and be like, what is up? Let's go. All this crazy shit that goes along with it. Yeah, I'm nervous doing it, but I could do it 110%. And I think a lot of that's got to go from, moving so much, making friends, getting picked on, new kid all the time in new schools with a different accent. Dude, I dealt with all that shit, and it used to beat me up mentally, physically. And then one day I was like, dude, I'm tired of living this way, so that's the advice I'd give. Forget what anybody says about you or thinks about you. You don't have to buy those new pair of Jordans to be part of the cool kids at school, or wear these certain clothes, or just whatever it may be, right? It's nah, forget that.
Agreed.
100%.
You.
Netflix series. What series are you watching right now, you and Jennifer?
We've just started Drive to Survive, because it's the best way to watch Formula One.
It is.
What else have we been watching on there? We watched The Crown. We have Disney Plus. We have Amazon. We have Netflix.
Yeah.
It's difficult to remember which series is on which. But a couple of the Harlan Coben ones we've watched that have been good. But yeah, Netflix, there hasn't really been a series that we've had chance to watch on there. That tends to be more the sort of the short documentaries. There hasn't really been anything that's taken our fancy. But when you go into Amazon and you're watching Reacher, that's been brilliant, absolutely superb. And the same with Jack Ryan. They've been brilliant series, absolutely superb.
Yeah, I'm same way on Netflix. I'm Drive to Survive right now. I think I'm 2 episodes, and then I'm gonna do the NASCAR, because you're not the first one that said, dude, it's really good. You
it is,
need
yeah,
to watch.
Especially for a Brit who doesn't really know much about it. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Apple TV, of course, me, my Apple products, right? I'm watching Messi, because I'm big into soccer, football.
Yeah.
I love football. So I'm watching Messi and Inter Miami. They have a little series.
Tried Masters of the Air yet?
Have I done what?
Masters of the Air.
Dude, I absolutely diehard fan of that show. Me and my son sit down on the couch Friday, Masters of the Air. What a show.
Superb.
Absolutely.
So well done. So well done.
I know. Man, I wanted to keep going. Me too. To everybody, Masters of the Air is absolutely hands down one of the best shows out there right now. It's great, man. It's friendship, it's war, it's love, it's everything you want in a series. It's one of those ones. As soon as it ends, you're like, damn it, I wish they had 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right now, because I'd be up till 3 o'clock in the morning, dragging ass the next day. Was so worth it. Yes. So worth it. So let me ask you this. And since you're a big TT fan like me, it's hard for me to ask this question, because not everybody's into the TT like me, right? Or you, or people that are really into it. There's a lot of names on this list, but I'm only going to give you 2 for this question. In your opinion, out of these 2 names I'm going to give you, who had the greatest TT comeback in history? Okay. Mike Hellwood or Robert Dunlop?
Wow. 2 completely different comebacks. I think both. Man, that's a tough one, because they are so different. Mike, after 11 years of self-imposed and going off doing other things, and then coming back and doing what he did, was incredible after so long away, and then just to drop straight back into it. But then for Robert to go back to the TT with his injuries to his arm and competing in the 125 in the lightweight TT was just, I think, for grit and determination, Robert, because I think for Mike, it was coming back, reacquainting himself with the course on a good bike and with the right team around him. But for the physical limitations that Robert had, I would go with Robert.
Great question, wasn't it? Dude, I love that question because there's so many angles, right? Because every one of those riders that made that comeback, their all stories are different, right? So it makes you really think. You're like, oh shit, what a question. Right. You're like, oh man, let me think about this one for a minute. This is yeah. Beer or wine?
Beer, 100%. I'm no wine drinker. Never have been, never will be.
This is a question, dude, I want to ask you because I hear it on your podcast. You ask it, dude. So I was like, I'm asking Dave this question straight up. The most famous person in your phone?
Freddie Spencer.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, right? Freddie Spencer. Hold on. Let me text Freddie real quick. Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. One more, but before we get off here, I'm gonna let you do all your shout outs and I'll get mine into is man, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I can't believe I just bounced that question. Are you kidding me right now? Listen, if you were going bowling, it's kind of like your dinner question, right? But I'm gonna do the whole bowling thing just because I wanted to take two of your questions and ask you them. Bowling, 5 people dead or alive. Who are they?
5.
Yeah.
Okay. Liam Gallagher.
Nice.
From Oasis.
Yep.
This is tough. I think Valentino has to be in there as well. I think it's easy asking the questions. I don't have to think about the answers. Maybe John Bon Jovi. Let's stick him in there as well. And then just to really wind the party up, let's go Barry Sheen and James Hunt.
Barry Sheen would be a proper legend there at a dinner table. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah, that's every time I ask that question in my mind, I think, and it always changes, right?
Yeah.
Except for one constant person in my mind, and he don't never change, and that would be David Jeffries.
Superb.
I would love to sit down and have a chat with David Jeffries. He was one of my favorite TT riders. Actually, him. It would be it's him, Gus, and Ronnie. Gus Scott, Ronnie. Man, I forget Ronnie's last name. Ronnie. Fast Bikes Magazine, Performance Bikes Magazine, TT. Ronnie. That's it. Smith. Man, I was a huge fan of them. Absolutely, they had balls. Race the TT. Dude would just be absolute legends. But yeah, out of that, it'd be
David Jeffries for sure. Good shout. I like that.
Yeah, David Jeffries is absolute phenomenal. But listen, Dave, we're definitely going to do a part 2 of this. We're not going to make it so long in between because it's been October 2022 since we had you on here last time.
Yeah, it's getting on 18 months, isn't it?
Yeah. We're not going to do that again. We'll definitely plan one for this year too. 110%.
Mate, time.
Yeah, but before we get off here, Dave, I need you to give all your shout outs where they could follow you, where they could listen.
Okay. Thank you. The main one is the podcast, Off Track Podcast. We're on Instagram, Off Track Podcast UK. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Give us a search. You'll see the logo as Simcoe's got on his chest there. You'll see those on the headers for everything. Give us a follow. Give us a listen. We're on YouTube. We're on every audio platform. And then if you want to follow me, then I'm on Facebook as Dave Neal. I'm on Twitter as Dave Neal, which I sometimes get tagged in things from America because apparently there's a sports presenter over there called Dave Neal.
There is.
And he's had it. I think he's like the Dave Neal or Dave Neal Sports, something like that. But sometimes I get tagged into things I have no idea what people are talking about. And then on Instagram as the Dave Neal, because Dave Neal was already taken. So that's all the handles. That's where we're at. Off Track, the Motorcycle Racing Podcast. And yeah, that's us. And mate, for you, thank you for having me on, and thank you for sparing me 2 hours of your time to listen to me waffling on about all and nothing. And I wish the Pin the Gas podcast goes from strength to strength. Hopefully, get Jules back in the not too distant future, and just keep on grinding, mate. You're doing a brilliant job.
Thank you, mate, so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's absolutely, I will. I'm not going nowhere, right? So everybody's going to continue seeing this face right here for quite some time. So yeah, absolutely. And listen, we do have a Dave Neal here, but he is not the real Dave Neal, right? We have the real Dave Neal, right? The other one's just an imposter, so he does not count at all. But yes, everyone, listen, I always say this, and I really mean it. Thank you guys so much who always watches, likes, and subscribe to Pin the Gas Podcast. If you get a chance, go onto all my social media, Instagram, Spotify, iHeart, all that. Hit that like and subscribe bell. It helps me out greatly. It really does. Before I get off here, big shout out to my man, Jake Marsh, the whole R&D race team out there that supports me in the BSB paddock. Another one is my man, Martin, from the Clothing Kings, where you can go to theclothingking.co.uk and get all Pin the Gas merch, sweatshirts, hoodies, body warmers, the whole nine. You can get anything. Hell, he'll probably even make you underwear if you really want some, which is a good idea, right? And yeah, and anyway, this is a whole nother conversation. But yes, listen, thank you guys so much. Listen, you guys, what an honor. Again, Dave, the real deal, Dave Neal, this is for you and everybody else out there. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Absolutely, Dave, man.